Hello students, welcome to the lecture on e-commerce in oil and natural gas industries. Now after this lecture, we will be able to learn the following objectives. Understand different types of e-commerce, discuss about economic efficiency, understand models of e-commerce adoption, explain e-commerce initiatives. Let's start with the concept of e-commerce in oil and natural gas industries. Internet has touched the lives from so many angles. One of the main areas of our daily lives where it is deeply affected is business. E-commerce is a framework where information technology, IT and business activities are converging into each other. There have been many definitions suggested by the researchers in the field. E-commerce is the term which is used when people trading, buying and selling via the internet. Most people think that e-commerce is only the technology of the consumer retail purchases from companies. While it is true, but it is much more than that. E-commerce should be considered as all electronically mediated transactions between any company and any third party that deals with business and e-commerce management. E-commerce as delivery of good information or services by electronic means. Oil and gas companies slow to realize the speed of which e-commerce application are changing business to business B2B transaction are in store for a grueling uphill climb if they survive at all. The rapid improvements made to such applications such as the increasing ease of use and their time and money saving features have brought the cost of conducting B2B transaction down substantially over the last decade and most significantly over the last few years. Many energy industry segments have homed in on B2B niches that will save both time and money. By definition, the e-business supply chain can be divided into two basic segments. The first, called e-procurement, can be defined as the B2B ordering of goods and services through electronic systems including the internet and private networks. Let us now discuss the different types of e-commerce. There are many definitions for e-commerce which have a lot in common. Nevertheless, e-commerce has been defined by scholars and researchers in different ways, such as e-commerce is the process of buying and selling products, services and information via computer networks and the internet. This trends to rely on this definition. It is defined that e-commerce as all electronically mediated transaction between an organization and the other side of the transaction. Further, that non-financial transactions such as customer requests would be also considered as e-commerce. E-commerce is not only limited to the actual buying and selling of products, but the pre-sales and post-sales across the supply chain considered to be e-commerce. The e-commerce transaction happens between two sides of a transaction. The sides of this transaction can be a consumer, a business internal, or the government. When the transaction is between the business and the consumer, it is called B2C. The transaction between business and business is called B2B e-commerce.
Hi everyone, I'm Ling and Wan Ting. Today we are going to present about different types of e-commerce business models. What is e-commerce? E-commerce is sharing business information, maintaining business relationships, and conducting business transactions through the use of telecommunication network. E-commerce remains a legitimate way for business to make money and to save money. The term e-business is sometimes interchanged with the term e-commerce to refer to a broader concept where companies are able to recognize internal business process, foster business alliance, and create new consumer-oriented products and services. There are several e-commerce models: B2B, business to business; B2C, business to consumer; C2C, consumer to consumer; B2E, business to employee. B2B is an inter-organizational information system in which a company handles transactions within its own value chains or with other business and organizations. B2C is means restoring transactions between a company and individual customer are B2C transactions. B2C is the most visible aspect of e-commerce from a consumer point of view. C2C is means individuals selling and buying directly with each other via a website are using C2C. The best example of C2C is eBay. B2E is means focused primarily on handling the activity that takes place within the organization. What is intranet? Intranet is an internal information system based on internet client or server activity between individuals and departments within an organization. There are several ways that businesses use intranet to support their internal business process. The first one is information access for employee. Next, collaboration and teamwork. The third one is internal business transaction, and the last one is distribution of information management tools. What is extranet? Extranet is a private inter-organization information system connecting the intranet of two or more trusted business partners. Organization can set up an extranet in one of three ways: a secure private network, a public network, and virtual private network. Data is specially coded or encapsulated for sending transactions over the internet.
A secure private network physically attaches intranets with privately telephone lines. Public network uses a public communication network such as a public utility telecommunication network or the internet. A VPN uses a public network with special protocols that provide a secure private tunnel across the network between business partners' intranet. An intranet is called an internal VPN when the public network used is the internet. An intranet can improve a business bottom line by increasing the speed of B2B transactions, reducing error on intercompany transactions, reducing route of telecommunication, increasing the volume of business with partners, facilitating the exchange of B2B documents, providing instant access to inventory and order status from suppliers, facilitating cooperation with business partners, joint projects. B2C, online retail sales and service. Message encryption standards use software for authenticating the parties involved in a credit card purchase on the internet. Electronic payment systems allow people to make purchases without revealing their credit card numbers. For example, PayPal. SEO, search engine optimization, is the process of increasing website traffic by improving search engine ranking for targeted keywords. C2C, making consumer connections. Most fall into a few broad categories. The digital equivalent of a newspaper classified ads, for example, Craigslist. The online auction, for example, eBay. The reseller model, for example, Amazon's Partners Program.
Benefits of e-commerce. E-commerce could bring huge profits to the oil industry. This is explained by the following reason. E-commerce saves a great amount of the transaction costs, and therefore more profits would be brought to the oil company. For example, statistics show that the total purchase expenditure of global oil companies in 1998 amounted to INR 10,200 billion. The companies need to access a huge amount of commercial information to run their daily activities. The reduction of the cost needed to receive information enhances the business opportunities and improves selling of the products. Accessibility. E-commerce is conducted every day around the clock and is not limited by time and place, since that transaction is executed electronically. Therefore, the speed of the business is high. E-commerce provides better access to global market, and business can be performed with whoever connected to internet. Better opportunities and self-servicing. Among many benefits obtained through e-commerce, to find original manufacturers over the internet and purchase goods and services are easier, cheaper, and quality is higher. E-commerce is self-serviced and part of the job can be done by the customers, customer outsourcing. E-commerce is normally executed via internet applications which are used in a website of or implemented by some application developed efficiently. These applications have the ability to communicate via internet independent from the operating system on which they are. Customer benefits. The benefits of the e-commerce have been also studied from both the customer and the business points of view. The benefits of e-commerce from customer points of view are catalog flexibility, fast online updating, encrypted and secured payment system and fund transferring. The most important benefits a customer can receive through e-commerce are, however, reduction of prices, access to global market, more options and extending access time to the market around the clock. Business benefits. The benefits that a business could enjoy are increasing the potential market share, reduction in advertising costs and less barriers for entering the market. The major benefits, however, from a business perspective is the impact of e-commerce on increasing the profit through increasing in sale and decreasing the operating costs of business. Disadvantages of e-commerce. Following are some of the disadvantages of e-commerce. Delivery issues. E-commerce transaction, the delivery of physical goods needs a time and one cannot have its goods as soon as pays for it. Quality evaluation. Shipment of perishable goods is not an easy job, and by choosing to buy something through internet, one cannot be sure about the quality and if the good is what we really want. The refund process in e-commerce is not convenient and returning of the goods is not always satisfactory when it comes to refund, return postage fees and required time. Since the business takes place in the virtual environment, the feedback about how people react to product and service offerings also tends to be of little use. Now moving on to the next topic, we will study the economic efficiency. E-commerce, electronic reporting, permitting and data mining has become a necessity rather than a luxury for regulators and the regulated community in the oil and gas industry. E-commerce is getting a lot of attention these days as a way to sell to consumer, but the bigger opportunity for internet transaction is between business. Internet is already facilitating transaction in deregulated utilities, energy futures and environmental credits. But the potential for e-commerce extends beyond the purely financial realm. The most important factors behind the competitiveness driver as a customer demand is improving the range and quality of services offered and avoiding losing market share to businesses which already use e-commerce. The most important reason behind the competitiveness for a business is, however, the efficiency in cost. 2008 states, as marketing and advertising expenses reduce, there is a better chance in competing with bigger companies and business relationships with dealers and suppliers are more efficient. There are two main categories of drivers behind e-commerce. These two categories encompasses 7 drivers for adopting and implementing e-commerce, among which the cost efficiency is a major driver. The cost of inventory e-commerce is growing so fast, especially in the B2B segment, is its significant impact on business costs and productivity. This is explained by the fact that the electronically delivered products such as software, travel services, entertainment and finance are the leading products in both B2B and B2C segments, and their deliveries are the simplest ones. These products can be mass-produced and delivered, and therefore they have a great economic impact. Goals of the e-commerce. The identified goals of the e-commerce initiative include seamless data sharing, reducing the time it takes to issue permits, simplifying reporting requirements, make the environmental and technical data currently contained in disparate state and federal databases available to industry. The cost saving to industry with these activities help to increase production and increase environmental compliance by making information readily available to decision makers. Delays in coordinating permit approvals between federal and state agencies translate into increased operational costs and stresses for the oil and gas industry. Making federal lease stipulation and area restriction data available on state agency websites will streamline potential lessors' review of available leases, encourage more active bidding on unleased federal lands, and give third-party operators independent access to data that otherwise may not have access to lease restriction and other environmental data. Operators will be able to use the national XML schema for batch submittals or login to agency website and enter an identification or API number. A web form application will then populate the form with most recent date. The operator either complete form or downloads to computer to complete and submit electronically at a later date. Significant progress has been made in the e-commerce initiative. Industry has indicated that they would like states to develop a system where they can transfer a batch submittal of permits to the regulatory agency for approval. Under the current proposal, industry would map the data elements to the RBDMS e-business XML schema, which would then parse the data to the appropriate state and/or federal regulatory agency. Permit applications which do not meet the minimum data requirements would be rejected by the parser and returned to the applicant. Some states have indicated that for permits like a routine rework, permit approvals could be automated. The XML data elements from the body of existing work that are suitable for reuse in the regulatory schema will be identified. This data will then be placed in a searchable database in which crawler data contents will be searchable by schema name, tag name, description and data type. Existing element names in the petroleum industry, data dictionary PIDD, may be used and work resulting from the use of the tag crawler will be offered to the PIDD maintenance staff. Small independent operators who often do not have sophisticated in-house databases will be able to use a subset of the same RBDMS tools available online to file permit notices and production reports. Once the data passes automated quality control checks, the application will upload the data into the agency's RBDMS database. The operators will also have access to state agency data sets to focus exploration efforts and to perform production forecasting, economic evaluations and risk assessment with the ability to identify economically feasible oil and gas prospect, including unconventional plays over the internet. Operators will minimize travel and other costs. Let's now discuss the models of e-commerce adoption. There have been a number of models and theories suggested as applicable to the study of the technology adoption. Among many theories such as theory of reasoned action TRA, technology acceptance model TMA, theory of planned behavior TPB, innovation diffusion theory IDT, social cognitive theory SCT, and unified theory of acceptance and use of technology UTAUT. The most relevant theories to consider for adopting a technology. It is a common notion among the most of these models that adoption of a technology is depending on the factors that influencing to use that technology. As an example, technology acceptance model TAM states that a new technology is accepted if it is easy to use and is useful. By usefulness, the degree which improves the job performance once one uses it in a new technology. On the other hand, ease of use is a little or none effort to learn or use a technology. TPB, the theory of planned behavior, is described through BI or the behavioral intention. The idea is that a small business executive decision in pursuing a course of action such as creating a website or adopting e-commerce is a function of attitude A, subjective norm SN, and perceived behavioral control PBC. This model has been proven to be very successful in adopting new technologies, including the use of the information technology. Diffusion innovation theory DOI is focused on the perceived characteristic of the innovation which either accepts or denies it to be adopted. Innovation as an idea or practice which is to be used by the adoptee individual or organization and not necessarily being just invented. The 10 characteristics they found most useful for adopting a technology is relative advantage, complexity, communicability, divisibility, social approval, trialability, cost, compatibility, and observability. IT adoption has also proven these factors to be important in the context of the adoption of various IT innovation. IT adoption models. A major framework in adoption IT in companies is EDI. EDI or electronic data interchange is the transmission of data between organizations through electrical means. It is referred to the transmission of documents in any format from one computer system to the other one. While the senior purchasing manager had been picked up for the survey, They consider the same set of the factors. It is categorized these factors into three-level technological, organizational, and inter-organizational levels. They found out that the competitive pressure is the most important factor in adopting EDI, followed by the IT infrastructure, financial resources, trading partner readiness, and acting trading partner power and perceived benefits. This result indicates that the most important factor of EDI adoption is driven by the needs for competitiveness, strength, and the readiness of the partners for an e-business transaction, as opposed to imposition of the trading partners, which are thought to be the case in the earlier world. Another innovation in the IT is the Computer-Based Information System, IS, a model of IS for the small businesses. It is believed that more research should be done to highlight the more important and critical determinants of the organizational factors. The model suggests 4 groups of variables: CEO, the decision maker; information system IS, the technological factors; organizational and environmental factors. E-commerce initiatives. For the first time in the history of the oil industry in the country, business on the electronic media has been initiated, keeping in mind our commitment to do business with industrial and commercial customers in a reliable, innovative, and caring manner. This facility allows the customer online indenting of their requirement, tracking the status of the indent, knowing the details of the supplies made to them, information pertaining to the earlier supplies, online viewing of statement of account. The main advantages of the facilities to the customer are timely information of the product availability, monitoring inventory at the end and better control on their finances, assured quality and quantity of the product. The gains to Bharat Petroleum are accurate planning at the supply point, building strong and long-lasting relationship with the customer. Payment gateways. Care is also being taken to ensure that customers enjoy a hassle-free relation while transacting with the company. Arrangements with banks have been organized to allow customer ease of banking for their transaction with Bharat Petroleum. Currently, such tie-ups with several banks have drawn customer attention. Expression to more Indian and international banks have also been made for similar tie-ups. B2B integrations with customer ERP. The purchase process of the customer and the sales process at BPCL were integrated in this effort, which marked phase 1 of the project. This is the first ever such integration attempted by BPCL and was completed in a record time of 45 days from the date of proposal. To provide a glimpse of the process in brief, customer creates a purchase order for the material he desires to buy in the SAP system. The order is transmitted through their web server to BPCL's web server through the internet. The order, when received at BPCL's server, gets converted to a sales order automatically, with a mail being forwarded to the concerned officers of the territory. On completion of the delivery, goods issue and invoice, a delivery dispatch advice is automatically transmitted by the system to Asian Paints. This gets converted to a shipping notification at the customer end, and the customer gets to know immediately that goods are in transit to their plant. On receipt of the goods at their plant, the customer makes a goods receipt based on the shipping notification. This triggers off a received documents which comes to BPCL's server, and it picks up the invoice details automatically. On the due date, this invoice is used to create the invoice verification document that is used to settle BPCL's dues. Some of the obvious benefits include instantaneous transmission of data between customer and vendor transcending time and geographical distance, assured data integrity. The customer feeds the data in just once at the time of creating a purchase order. Thereafter, all documents are generated by the systems and exchanged duly. Qualitative analysis and planning would now be possible. There is no need for exchange of paper documents. Controls are ensured by the transmission of emails on the creation of sales orders. To make this happen, several technical efforts have also been taken. These include the setting up of the SAP Business Connector server, the server as the web server that interacts with customers on the web, securing the server and digital certification deployed for document exchange. This ensures that documents are checked for dispatcher identification and prevents anyone trying to hack into the system of either BPCL or its customer. Installation of SQL database for tracking of documents exchange. This has been a step into the future by two organizations that wish to leverage IT for business benefits. This also strengthens our relationship with one of BPCL's valued customers. Now, in the end, let us summarize what we have learned in this lecture. As the oil and natural gas industry is a traditional vertical industry, 90% or above of the e-commerce is done between business and business. The coming of B2B mode will impose great impact on the oil industry by boosting a revolutionary change in the operation mode of oil companies. The e-commerce transaction happen between two sides of a transaction. The sides of this transaction can be a consumer, a business, internal, or the government. When the transaction is between the business and the consumer, it is called B2C. The transaction between business and business is called B2B e-commerce. The benefits that a business could enjoy are increasing the potential market share, reduction in the advertising costs, and less barriers for entering the market. The major benefits, however, from a business perspective is the impact of e-commerce on increasing the profit through increasing in sale and decreasing the operating cost of business. The most important factors behind a competitiveness driver as a customer demand is improving the range and quality of services offered and avoiding losing market share to business which already use e-commerce. E-commerce makes it possible to apply EDI type system to even relatively small purchases. As a result, one have less errors and ensuring the compliance with organization norms are easier.